Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Grace. How are you?
Good. I don't know.
Hey, Carmine.
Hi.
Hi, Aaron. Are you managing the meeting tonight?
Hello, everybody. It's Grace Numerosi.
Oh, hi, Grace. Dave,
Hi,
you're
Grace.
under the name Dave?
Am I under the name Dave? No, I'm under my name.
Oh, okay.
She's under
'Cause I
Grace.
don't see. Oh,
I got a
I
picture of
see.
my house
Okay,
right
now I
there.
see it. You got the picture up. Okay.
Yeah.
But we're missing you.
I am not feeling well. I've been
Aw.
sick for about 4 days now, so
Oh,
I'd rather have a picture of the house we're talking about.
thanks. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. We'll wait a few more minutes.
I think most of you have been to my house except for Barbara. I don't think we've ever met.
I don't think so. Honey.
Hi, Aaron. You're on twice, huh? Or, no, you just
Yeah,
left. You just
I
got
was
yourself
having
off.
trouble getting my computer up, and I was rushing home from a soccer game. Sorry about that.
That's
There you go.
okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Dave.
Hi,
Hi,
Dave.
Dave. And who are you, Dave?
I'm here for Grace, actually, in case there's
Okay.
any technical questions I can answer. I'm going to be installing the windows that she's talking about.
Okay. Okay.
Or,
Great.
yep.
We've got 3 more commission members that I was expecting to be on tonight, so we're going to wait another minute to see when they sign on. Well, we do have a quorum, so maybe we should get going. See if anybody comes in late. Okay, so I'll start the meeting at 6:07. We're calling the meeting to order, and we're going to be operating the meeting under conducted under the remote under the chapter 107 acts of 2022, and that's for the Zoom meeting. Okay, for attendance, we have to do roll call for all votes and to open the meeting. So attendance, Ali Pet, that's me, I'm here. Bob Chandler, no. Carmine, you're here?
Yes.
Okay. Steve Goodett, no. Barbara Lambert, yes.
Here.
Okay. William Remsen, no. And Rosemary, you're here, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, okay, we have 2 minutes to look at. One is the approval of the minutes of September 12th. Any questions with those minutes?
The only thing is we didn't include any discussion of the sign.
Sign, right.
Right,
That's
so,
what-
but we didn't discuss it,
We
so,
didn't discuss it, so it's not included in there.
right, exactly.
Okay, and okay,
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
okay. Motion to, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second, Barbara. So thank you, Rosemary and Barbara. And we'll vote for that, unless anybody has any other questions. Arlie Pett, yes. Bob Chandler isn't here. Carmine?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Steve isn't here. Barbara?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Bill isn't here, and Rosemary.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, and next is the meeting of minutes of July 25th. And that's another one of my cut and paste oversights. I left the section in about continuing at the next meeting from the previous
Right.
notes. Okay, so that's just a cutting of that section out. And because it's 20 Main Street is what we discussed, we have to have everything in order and all that. So, okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes as corrected?
I'll do it again.
Okay, we do it again. You're good at it,
Okay.
Rosemary.
We're on a roll. Yeah, I vote to accept the minutes as amended, and that paragraph will just be deleted, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Right, okay.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay,
Barbara.
okay, so second by Barbara. So motion by Rosemary, second by Barbara, and you have to do a roll call vote. Holly Pett, yes. Carmine?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Barbara?
Yes.
Yes, and Rosemary?
Yes,
Okay, and Bob Chandler, Steve Goodek, and William Remsen are absent. Okay, so the item we have before us is Grace Nimorosi, 52 Middle Street, for certificate of appropriateness for, this is window installation and minor rot repair. Do you want to present what you're doing, Grace?
Sure. And Dave, please feel free to tune in at any time. I was thinking that they were going to present, so I'm
Okay,
here
well, they
to
can
ask-
present. Okay,
Either way, I'm here to
okay,
ask for permission to install 20 new windows. I'm glad I have the picture of the house here in front because the bay windows will not be touched because they have stained glass that I don't want to touch the integrity of that. Plus there's new storms on that. So basically all of the windows that will be replaced are single pane windows. None of them currently match. So I have some that are 2/2, some that are 1/2, some that are prairie style, some that are just the old Anderson crank-out windows in the kitchen, for example,
and
which are not
that's the kitchen
historical.
on the
Yeah,
side
the,
street on
the
Church
kitchen
Street.
has crank-out windows, and that right there in the center, that also is crank-out windows.
Yeah, the ones that your brother put them in.
I guess I mean I've been in the house now for 50 years, and it must have been before I was born, or I was really young when that happened because
It
I
was when
don't.
you were really young. I remember the
Yeah.
day he did it.
So my hope is to keep the integrity of the house as long as I possibly can, and we've done we went for the insulation and do everything that is aesthetically pleasing.
Mhm.
However, the windows are either broken, the falling apart, dangerous, don't open. So my goal is to have them all match with, and I went through and chose something that was historically accurate, which would be a 2/1 for most of them, except for those two in the front. I want them to be as open as possible. So I don't want to have any of the divisions at all, but they will all be systematically
Okay.
2/1. And I have
Yep.
had action is going to help. And so that's where Dave comes in. He is going to be installing all the windows. I believe he sent you all the information. So are there any questions as to what I'm looking to do?
Okay,
Eventually
so-
I'm going to paint the house as well, but that won't be until after all of the windows are complete. So you'll see me
Okay.
again in the spring.
Okay, so how many windows are we talking about number wise total?
20,
20 windows? Okay,
20 or 23, Dave.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
20
we
or
can hear you.
23?
Yeah, I think it's 23.
23?
We're
Okay.
not touching the attic windows either, the
Okay.
rounded windows.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the paperwork.
I have the
didn't-
paperwork in front of me, but I
Hmm.
think it is 23.
Okay,
Are-
and what is the one window that you're,
The
you
two
said
bay
you-
windows will not be touched. The
Yeah,
ones that
the
are
two bay
facing.
windows, and then you said one other window was
We're
not.
not touching the attic windows, the
Okay, but you
curved
said
windows.
one
in the
other
attic.
window was gonna be,
Open.
not,
Just not open, but there will be no dividers. It won't be 2 over 1. It'll just be clear. I don't know how you call that. Just double hung. windows.
single,
Yeah, single, and those will be the ones in the front like they are now.
the
But
front,
they
middle,
will-
above the.
Oh, the front door.
Yeah, they will,
above
in front of the
door,
front, up
okay.
above the front door. They will not be crank open. They will be like the rest of the windows. The double hung window.
Okay, so they're gonna be double hung, but single panes in each.
Right.
Are any of the windows original?
That I don't know, because none of them match. So I don't even know if the bay windows are actually original. I like them because of the stained glass. But there are a bunch of windows in my basement, so I'm assuming that if any are original, it would be the attic.
Hmm.
But I can't, I mean, even if you look at the front, my son's window, which is, if you're looking at it to the right, is a 4 over 4, and then my window, which is my bedroom on the other side, is a prairie style. So they don't even match in the front of the house. So we have some prairie, some 1 over 1, some 2, some open, some don't.
Is there any picture of the window, the 2 over 1, maybe?
It should be in the paperwork.
I didn't see that.
I
Did
didn't
miss
see
it?
it either.
All we got, Grace, was we got photographs of the various
Of the
facades.
house.
Yeah, just four photographs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I'm
we
sorry.
don't- We don't have any
I'm
catalog
looking
pictures of the
at,
windows or anything.
Okay, I don't know how I can share this, because I'm looking at what Dave gave me, which is, you know,
Maybe Dave has it?
I,
It's a-
I
it's-
gave all the specs on the windows from where we're getting them. I got a whole spec sheet, so it gives the the U factors and all that stuff. It gives what style window, whether it's got argon, all that stuff. So that's like it's 100% transparent what I'm putting in.
but just,
No, I'm
they
just
don't
looking for
have
a
it.
picture of the window,
Oh,
like 2
yeah.
over 1. Sorry, I just
Um,
don't.
How can I share, like, it's a Harvey window, I know that, and I have
they're-
Oh, great.
there, how do I show this?
Oh, I
Um,
know.
I guess I could look at somebody out, I mean, pick a window out and show you, but all I have is the PDF of the spec sheet with,
yeah, which is what we should have uploaded to you guys, I believe.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get it.
Yeah, well, all we
Oh.
got, Dave and Grace, is we got the pictures of the facades of the house, and that's it.
okay, so
Really?
could I
Yeah.
share? I have no problem
Yeah, you
sharing.
can share it. That would
Yeah,
help.
If
Grace.
you can share, if
you
Erin,
can.
can you allow Grace to do
Yeah.
that?
I
And
don't have
let's just welcome
How do I do that?
William Remsen.
So how do I share something here on?
At the
Zoom?
bottom, share your
Yeah.
screen.
Where it
there
says
should be a
share my
little-
screen? Okay, so now I
Yeah,
just go
that
to,
works.
but I have to go,
Oh my
and-
gosh.
sorry, I have to go and find, it's in my email, so do I open that first?
Oh, go find that first and then you
Okay,
can
let me
share.
go find do this, and then- sorry.
Unless Dave has it.
I'm looking through mine right now.
I mean, I have it right here on my
Sure.
phone that I'm looking at, but
Oh.
hold on, I'm gonna figure this out. Hold on. It's been a while.
Welcome, William.
There you
Thanks.
go.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right, can I email this to someone?
Can you share it right there on the screen? That's
Oh,
what I'm
geez.
trying to do.
Yeah.
Or email it to Erin or one of us.
All right, well, I have the PDF ready to email. Do you have an email address I can send it to? And then I'll see if
Erin?
I can. I'm doing it from the phone I'm on, so.
Yeah, no,
What I have is, I have it right here, and I can figure out how to. Okay, so now I just need to go here.
Erin has to allow you to do it though, too.
I think she, where it says
She
share
she enabled
screen,
you
Once
to
you
do
did,
that? Okay.
yeah.
I just need to a file. Oh, I don't know how to do this. It's not letting me do
I'm
this.
surprised there's no file sent to you guys. I thought that was uploaded.
Mm.
If you, I can upload it in the morning when I get to the office.
Yeah, I think we need it now because I don't want it to get
Yeah.
postponed and
Yeah.
I don't want to do this again.
Can you send it to Erin or to you, Arlie? Or?
Yeah, well, yeah, send it to me and I'll try to upload it, but,
Rosemary, I have
Yeah,
to send it to
Erin?
you. I mean, I have Rosemary's email.
I mean, if Erin, I mean, just because he's the
Do
chairman.
you want
and-
my email address?
Yeah, why
that'd
don't I
be
just
great.
forward
Send
this
it
to you
Erin.
right now? I have no problem.
Sure. It's
Um,
E Nicolosi.
Hold on 1 minute, please, so I can. ENI.
Yep. COLOSI.
Yep.
At Gloucester.
Okay.
-MA.
Dash.
.com.
.gov.
Oh,
Yep.
good. Okay, good. Okay. Disregard all the other attachments, but it says acknowledgement, and hopefully you should receive it any second.
Can I just ask a question, Grace, while we're waiting?
Sure, anything you want.
So you're keeping all of the architecture on the outside, all of
Oh,
the.
absolutely. I'm gonna
Right.
have it restored eventually.
Oh my
so-
gosh, it's so
Not-
pretty.
Yeah,
House-
not yet because I have to get the windows in before I get any paint work, but I'd like to bring it back to its glory. Someday, maybe even put the widow's peak back in, but I'm not
Ooh.
here now.
What are the window materials? Are they wood?
Vinyl.
No, I don't think so.
Vinyl.
I couldn't afford the wood. They were way priced out of price range.
So the way this is going is this is going through an energy program. And the energy program foots the bill. And they only allow certain types of windows. They have to meet, obviously, any type of, whether it's building codes, but they also have to meet their energy codes now. As long as I meet those codes, they pay me to install the windows. I'm limited to what I can offer within
Sure.
the program. Anything beyond that was at a cost to the homeowner, and it's a pretty big cost. So we're limited to what we can install. So the vinyl is the only way we can go. That's what's been approved through the agencies.
And some of my neighbors have the exact same windows, vinyl windows. They just have different frames. Some of them are just just clear over clear, and some have 6 over 1, which we did not want to do. So we chose the one that would be most aesthetically pleasing.
Bill, you were going to say something?
Well, this is a very interesting sort of dilemma where vinyl windows, very few vinyl windows really look historic. But if the various funding agencies are allowing only that really is a kind of potential problem. I mean,
Yeah.
Yikes.
You should be an installer and have to deal with this.
I can't imagine.
It is the most painful thing I've had to deal with in a long time. And my
And-
kids play soccer.
Do you build the windows to size?
They're replacement windows. There's no doubt about it. I'm not ripping any trim off or doing anything like that. I take the stops, put the replacement in, put the
So
stops back on.
You're basically just replacing the sash.
Yeah, it's like a
Mm.
box replacement if you think about it though.
Okay.
It's its own frame and everything. It's got its own balances. We take the weights out, we take the, the pulleys out and the weights out, put the stops back on, so all the trim is exactly the same. And all the stuff you don't see, the pulleys and the weights, you still don't see, and we insulate those areas.
So isn't almost every window customized, or are they all the same size? Because they're
I
kind of,
believe in that house, there was probably a half a dozen that were actually the same size,
oh,
but the rest of them are all, like pretty custom.
right.
I mean, when I measure for vinyl, I don't give them all this. I'd like to make them as much glass as possible.
So am I viewing the screen right now with the proposal in front of it?
Yes.
Is everybody seeing
Yeah.
that?
Yes,
Okay, so you can see the different numbers, how many are of each size has been
Oh,
ordered.
okay.
So you
gotcha.
can see there's 4 different sizes, I believe.
Yep.
Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, so, and it does have a picture of the 1/1.
Right.
just so you can
we
see.
only see one page and one window.
Okay, yeah, so there you go. So that page is up right now. That's the kitchen window.
Okay, so you're going from 4 crank open windows to 3 double hung?
Actually, right now I only have 2 crank open windows. The 2 in the middle are just single panes of glass.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
And is this is this on the side of the house that faces
Yeah,
the church?
that particular window is on the side, on Church Street.
Yeah,
Okay.
facing the UU.
So those
in
those
the
will be
front are
sash
not the-
windows.
Those, yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah. To me, the size isn't as important because it's going in the same opening.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
affecting any trim at all.
Trim, right.
Yeah, so from the
So
outside, the
that's
trim
not
will look
important.
exactly the
Yeah.
same.
What I see as a plus, on, as being requested is that they're all going to be uniform versus all different types,
Exactly.
right? Which is a plus, even if it's vinyl.
And it's also going to get rid of the ugly storm windows that I have. Some are old, some are new. It's like we'll have, this will all be done, it'll all be uniform, and it won't be some windows with a storm and some without.
I have to just mention that the insulation value of a traditional wood window that's maintained and has flashing and all that, plus a storm window, is about the same as a modern vinyl window.
Unfortunately, these windows are broken,
Um,
cracked glass. They're not, the weights aren't working.
I'm gonna
Yep.
beg to differ because a storm window with a single pane glass, you get about 0.5 U rating, U factor. And with the triple panes that we're putting in, you're getting a 0.23 or 0.22, I believe.
I don't have my data with me, but I'll be happy to discuss it offline.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd love
let's-
If
copy
you
on that
want,
too.
I can easily put you in touch with the rep at Harvey's, or it's Lansing in Danvers. He runs the whole place and he can answer any questions on the construction of the windows.
Dave, have you looked at the windows in the basement?
Have I looked at them in the basement?
Yeah, Grace said that there were some in the cellar.
Oh, those windows are old windows that have some stained glass and other things like that. They're not windows that could be replaced.
No, so if it wasn't a conditioned space, I'm not allowed to touch it, basically.
I think she was asking about the extra windows I had in the basement.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I was thinking about
No.
it, like, I don't remember
Yeah.
doing basement.
No, the basement only has 2 windows and they're both single pane and awful. Boarded up, actually.
Yeah,
I-
I actually have a friend that has replacement windows, and hers have started to go foggy from the gas. in the windows, and she's only had them for about 20 years. So
Okay, so,
I guess
well,
that's
that
why
was,
they're called replacement. Because you need to
There,
replace them in 20 years.
well, the thing is 20 years ago, the quality of the windows was not where they are now. So the 20 years ago, that argon gas would have been gone because seals would have been broken because they weren't done very well. There's been many changes in the replacement window manufacturing process that has stopped that. And yes, you may get one or two that'll have that, and it may be an assembly process, but they get replaced pretty quick.
Yeah, because I think if you can't just replace a sash, you have to do the whole window for replacing.
So for what we do is basically, I understand where you guys are going, and I can do anything when it comes to windows. I've been doing construction my entire life. It's not that, it's what we get paid to do. It's what the agency that is asking us to do this is all they're willing to give us. You know what I mean? So can I do more? Yes, I possibly could, but it's all at like the cost is
It's astronomical.
yeah.
I mean, the cost at this level is still, close to $1,000 a window installed, let alone if I had to do wood replacement windows or a certain sash window. It would not be economic. Wouldn't be affordable.
Yes. No, you'd have to take out another mortgage. So it's terrible.
And Grace, obviously the addition in the back of your house or the side, that's not part of this, correct?
The addition, I don't have an addition.
Well, no, the
You mean the porch?
The single
porch.
story.
Yeah, the porch already has windows that were installed, and they are replacement windows. They're double hung windows. Those are
Right,
fine.
they're not part of this, right?
No, they're not part of it.
Gotcha.
And there are a few in the back that aren't part of it either, because I just can't, justify windows that aren't going to be seen, or like, the attic windows, they're not going to be touched.
Right. Right.
I'm looking at the side, Church Street side.
Okay.
And I don't see a porch. Oh,
It's the
It's a sun,
enclosed.
it's an enclosed porch. It's a sun porch.
okay, so that's on that same photo as the single story.
The single story.
It's
Um,
the
Yeah,
lower
it's-
right one, the lower right picture.
the lower right picture. I guess I'm not.
In the
sure what
quadrant,
picture-
I mean,
I don't know what
that-
picture you're looking at. Oh, my picture's right
It's
there.
the Church Street side.
the
Church
church-
Street, yeah, you can see in the lower left-hand side, there's like a little, you can see the roof maybe. It's to the left, right? Yeah, on Church Street side has
Yeah.
a sun porch, and then also, I guess the kitchen is the newest addition.
So
Which is
that's,
awesome.
is that the single story
Yes,
part of the building?
Oh,
that's
not
on
the
the-
porch.
yeah, that's just a kitchen, right?
Okay. So that will have three.
That will have the three,
sash windows.
right, the three windows rather than the four. Just more aesthetically pleasing. Nicer
Yeah.
view out to the churchyard.
And
Right.
were the windows originally all the same?
I have no
know?
idea. We have no idea.
Do you know what the date of your house is?
I have around 1856, 1860.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that sounds right.
Carmen might know better. He knew my dad.
Well, I knew your dad too and your mother.
Yeah, and Arlie's dad was across the street, so I have
Yeah.
no idea.
No, and I lived across the street for 10 years.
Yeah, no idea if they had the original windows. Those are the windows. These are the windows that I've had my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, except where, you added on in the back. And when your brother, cut out the windows in the middle above the entrance in the front.
Right.
the rest is pretty much what I remember it as, for all the years. So are there any other further questions or concerns or thoughts?
I just have a question for you, Arlie, is
Yes,
what has this committee done about vinyl windows versus wood windows in the past?
okay, oh boy, long time ago, when I was originally on the commission, we didn't have vinyl windows and it wasn't as much of a big issue. Then I wasn't on the commission for about 15 years, so I don't know what happened interim wise. And I think more recently, we haven't allowed vinyl unless it was on a building like on Main Street or something like that, new construction.
My neighbors have vinyl windows,
Yeah,
and we're on Middle Street.
yeah, on the east side, right?
What do you mean on the, well, I only have one neighbor, but
Right.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
That's what
there's
I'm
one,
saying.
and then one across the street. So and they
Yeah.
had the vinyl replacement
Right.
with Action as well. And their house is 100 years older than mine.
Right. But it might have been done before us, or I wasn't on the commission then.
No, it was just
commission-
within the last 10 years.
Okay, I wasn't on the commission, so I couldn't tell you what the vote was. Yeah. I see the one plus on this is that even though it's not, being really happy with vinyl windows, is that it makes them at least uniform, which is an improvement over what the current situation is.
I mean, it just seems that given what you all have said, that Dave and Grace, that putting wood windows in is a non-starter for the agency to allow you to do this. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it will not happen if I don't get assistance from the agency.
Right, just well, that's right.
It's either yes or no. I mean, I don't know what I'll do. I'll have no windows. I guess I'll have to board them up at some point because the one right in front, I mean, it's broken to the
Yes,
point where you can't open it. I mean, it's a big improvement having put in the mini splits. There's no more,
true.
air
Yes.
conditioners sticking out the windows. I'm just trying to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible.
Um, Any other, concerns, questions? Is there a motion from anybody?
I mean, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this. Bill's comment is definitely something we should maybe talk about further as this group, but I support that we go ahead with these windows for 52 Middle Street. Unless there's more discussion.
Okay. Well, it can be discussion after a motion is seconded, so,
Right.
is there a second on the motion? I'll second the motion. And we can discuss it further, but, I think we got multiple issues here. We've got, windows that, are just all over the place on the house as is. There's different style windows. The most important ones, design wise, are being kept in the bays. I think they're in a high place financially to be able to, make things more uniform and make things, better weatherization wise. But it's not just the weatherization. I think, we're getting something that's going to be a little bit more uniform and present itself, that presentation is going to be an improvement over what currently exists.
It's also gonna be a quality of life for the people
Right,
in it.
yeah. But Dave, our concern is architectural design. Unfortunately, that's what we're limited to and what we look at. I'm not crazy about vinyl windows at all myself, but in this case, I think it's an improvement over what currently is there. And the
And
windows
I
that
think we
are,
all would love to have wood replacement windows. I would love to be able to bring
Yeah.
this back 100% to its glory. It's just not economically feasible.
and the trim isn't being affected or anything like that, and they can always be replaced if it goes to a different owner at some point in the future. They can always put in wood. Um,
I imagine, right?
Huh?
So they could be replaced by wood if someone,
Yeah.
50 years or whatever down the road, but
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Bill, you're muted.
Who?
Bill is
Yeah.
muted.
Thank
Oh,
you. Hey, just a question. Should we ask that the existing windows be documented, at least photographed? Because there's probably, multiple generations, including some original windows in the house, and it is part of the heritage
Yeah.
to understand what it started with and what it evolved to. And if the historic windows are taken out and thrown away, well, no one will ever know.
That's probably what happened in the past because I'm the second owner of this home and the 106, our family is the second owner. So I'd be happy to do that. That's a non-issue.
Okay. And Bill, you're talking about the windows in the basement also, right?
Yeah, because those are probably the original windows, the
Yeah.
ones that are in the attic or in the basement or some hidden away someplace.
and would those just be stored in the annals of the house?
Yeah, there's definitely not enough to replace all of them. So I'm thinking that the ones that I'm talking about are the ones for the middle that my brother cut out as Arlie has put out. I'm pretty sure those are those two windows. And I actually someday would love to put them back. So yeah, they're not going anywhere. But the windows that are being taken out now, I will not have space to store. I could take photographs, but that's about as far as I could go.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess my question, would those pictures be stored with the house records? Is that what would
Well,
happen?
they-
Bill? Maybe I just want to,
They could be given to the planning office,
Okay.
and put in
Good
the
idea.
file. Yeah.
I could digitalize them and send them all to you. I have no problem.
Actually, the best place might be to the city archives.
Okay.
Yeah.
They'd stay
Well,
there longer.
there also is a file somewhere of when the historic district was formed, of the history of every house,
Mhm.
and the existing conditions.
Yeah.
And I don't know where in the city offices that's being held.
Well, that's probably in the state archives, in the,
No, it was held local because I thought
Huh.
they might even be on file in the library. So that the public can access them.
if there are any original windows, could we compromise and have those refitted? So that they're tight?
There's no way that I can afford to do that. I mean, the windows that I'm talking about, the original ones, don't even fit into the casements that are there. The two that I'm talking about are the ones that go above the front door. So they're windows that don't open. They were just decorative stained glass. Like on the top has stained glass and the bottom is, I don't even know what shape they're in. They've probably been in the basement for 50 years.
So, so are you talking about the second story?
Yeah, right there in the
Yes.
front, right in front of the front door. Above
Yeah.
the front door, there's two windows. They think they were taken out probably when I was younger.
So
and
that
stored in
those, that the two would be a pair in the middle, right?
Yes.
Literally above the door.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the only ones that I have that are in the basement that I think belong there. I'm not even sure that for all I know, they could be windows my dad picked up at a yard sale. I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
I just remember the day that Matzah got up on top of the
Did he not have approval?
and just started cutting with it.
Not by us.
So,
Obviously, he didn't have approval.
right. Well, we weren't a historic district back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
When did we become a historic district?
historic district in the 70s, I believe. Late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And Grace, when did your family buy the house?
In the 60s.
Oh, in the 60s, that recent.
So the Garlands owned it up until then, and then my family bought it.
Uh-huh. Is that Joe Garland's family?
His cousins, yes.
Uh-huh.
The woman who lived here was Maple Garland.
Hmm.
My dad bought everything in the house as well at the time.
All the furnishings.
Everything.
Huh.
A lot of it's still in the attic. It's a large one-family home.
Uh-huh. Well, it is pretty.
Okay. So we have a motion, by Rosemary, and seconded by me, to issue a certificate of appropriateness for the windows as presented. Is there any further discussion before we take a vote? Okay.
Actually, we have a kind of conflict of interest, don't we? Given that our regulations are for wooden windows.
What do you mean?
And,
What do you mean?
in terms of the for the preservation of the district. Does it say anywhere that there should be no vinyl windows? I know
No,
that
it
was
doesn't say anything about the materials for the windows.
Huh.
It's our judgment.
And again, I'd like to stress that my neighbors all in the historic district most of them have vinyl windows. Or the replacement windows, anybody who's doing any upgrading.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? Okay, I guess we'll take a roll call vote. Arlie Pett, yes. Carmine,
Yes.
Barbara,
I think I want to abstain.
okay. Is there a reason why, or,
Yeah, because I prefer wooden windows, although
Yeah.
I certainly understand, Grace, the financial part of it. So I'm just really right on the fence.
yeah, I mean, I prefer wood too, but, well,
And I don't want to say no,
yeah,
but I have a hard time saying yes.
yeah, okay. Bill Remsen? William?
You're muted again, Bill. Unmute.
You're muted, hon.
I have grandchildren in the background who are screaming.
They don't
Uh,
scream. Yeah.
Oh, yes, they do. I think one of the problems is that there aren't I mean, no matter how hard the manufacturers try, the vinyl windows don't quite look like wooden windows. As far as I know, there isn't really a perfect reproduction. That being said, I think the other issues, cost and performance and available funding are hard to resist. So I'm gonna say yes on this.
Okay. And Rosemary?
Yes,
Rosemary?
I vote yes.
Yes, okay, so that's,
Can we add to the motion that photographs should be taken and
Sure.
given to the city archives or to the Massachusetts Historical, or maybe both.
Why don't we send them to us and we'll figure out where they go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
why don't we do it that way?
That would be great, and I'd be
Yeah.
happy to do
Yeah.
that, and I get as much documentation as possible. And I'm gonna actually, my neighbor is was the archivist at the Cape Ann Museum, so I'm gonna
Oh,
see if she
good.
can help me get some images, because again, all I want to do is bring it back to its glory. So if I can help that in any way, whether it's the color of the house or moving forward, you can rest assured that I'm looking to restore integrity, not to destroy it.
Can I just add one recommendation for the photos? Can you just add a graphic scale, like a tape measure or something, so people have a clue what the dimensions are? I'm not asking you to measure the windows, it's just have, pull a tape measure along one side or something like that, so.
Yeah, we
But
we
we're
had to
not
measure some of
changing.
them anyway, so I have the measurements you'll have them in the replacement.
Yeah, the window replacement that I'm putting in is tip to tip, so they're pretty tight. They'll be snug. I'm not changing the rough opening of whatever wooden sashes are there.
I'm just
Yeah.
talking about the photographs, because
Okay,
they'll be freestanding documents with no connection to what you're
Okay.
doing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Right, and the ones in the basement too, like the ones that you're not replacing, those dimensions
Yeah.
would be helpful.
Okay. Do you want the ones in the attic that are not being replaced too?
Yeah,
mean,
I think that would be a good
They'll
idea.
have to be from the
Sure.
outside, I guess. There's
Yeah.
only a few windows.
yeah,
Well, part of-
if you're documenting the house, you might as well do all of them.
Yeah, I'll just walk around and take a
Okay.
picture.
Just make it
So-
measure your windows Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
Make it
Rosemary,
part-
you can come over and knock on my door and we can do it together. I'd be happy I will do that, not a problem.
I think, Bill, you're talking about when the sash are out, and they should be stood up somewhere with a tape measure beside them for the pictures.
That would be the ideal. That would be the ideal.
Yeah,
Well, it'd be great to have photos of them in the house as well as freestanding documentation.
the sashes can be measured.
Yeah, I was gonna say
place.
freestanding is up to Dave. I don't know how I would do that.
The sashes can be measured in place. That's easy. They can be measured without a doubt.
Oh.
okay,
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm just interested in the photos so that we have a sense of the maybe the joinery as well as the thickness of the wood, holding the glass.
Hmm.
Some of these have like 50 years of paint. You're not going to see any joinery, you know.
Yeah, but
you
you might,
won't be able to, sorry.
well, you might capture moldings or something like that. Whatever you can see is what you can see.
And there's going to be multiple styles of windows.
Right.
Grace was talking about, and as I've observed. So, okay. So, thank you. So certificate will be available from the planning office.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you all. Hopefully you
you.
can stop
You're
by and see
welcome.
new windows in the
Thank you.
spring.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you,
very
Grace.
much.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
So, I just want to, explain my vote a little bit, and my second on the motion is that I think it's just an improvement to get matching windows, it makes the house more presentable amongst all the other issues. And to me, that sort of balances off the vinyl.
Well, and I would agree with that. I mean, obviously, I would want wood as well, but really Bill's point about and what this committee, we're going to run into this again. I'm going to
Oh, yeah.
guess. We're going to have vinyl. And so how are we as a committee, what are our bylaws? I mean, how do we address this rather than have some not agree, some agree? I'm just, this is something we're going to have to address.
Yeah, and that's part of why we got the composition of architects and, somebody from the real estate board, somebody from the historical society, and then, Carmine and I, that are, homeowners, on the street or in the district,
Right.
we look at it from, the perspective of, what it costs us to maintain our properties. I know on my building on Middle Street, when I lived there, I spent one whole summer restoring the windows on the first floor, where I took out all the putty that I could get out, which was like 90% of the putty in the windows, oiled them all, primed them all, put panes of glass back in where I had taken them out,
Yeah, it's a
and
big
then
job.
put 3 coats of finish paint on it, and it's been painted 2 or 3 times since. And
Well,
none of them have had a
exactly.
failure. I've had 1 or 2 chips of putty come out in the repainting process, and boy, are they tight.
That's good.
Yeah.
I agree, Bill. Well, part of what I've got storms on my windows, and I've got on my curved windows, I actually have plexi storms, so it's wood frames with plexiglass in them, because it was prohibitive to get a glass, made to it. And when I actually, I worked in Boston, and I'd be around in the community and stuff, and I had lived also in Brookline for a while. Is the curvature on turrets in Brookline, the same curvature, and I would drive around on trash day and pick up screen window frames and storm window frames, and I have
Nice.
extras in my basement. They're not
Oh,
the
that's
same height
great.
and stuff, but the
That's-
curvature of the wood is the same, so I don't have to have wood bent to make
Fabulous.
the storm windows.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much money I've saved over the years. 'Cause I was able to, make up a couple of
Right.
screen windows that way, for the turrets.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah.
handier than we are. I mean, when National Grid came to our house,
Yeah,
they said, you've got to replace every window. And
yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
"Whoa." So we get about a window rebuilt a year
yeah.
by the window woman, if any of you know her.
I know,
know,
she's great.
yeah,
She's
she's fabulous.
fantastic.
Yeah, she just emailed us again today for some, but they had to put the ropes and the pulleys back in.
Yeah.
They were all cut. So not one window opened in this house for 20 years. I
Yeah.
don't know how they had any air come in. So, but anyway, but you're right. I mean, keeping the integrity of a house is so critical. I think we all really feel strongly about that. And many of us have done this with our own. You're right. If it's a situation by situation basis, as you
Yeah.
say, Arlie, I just don't know if there was an alternative for this group today.
Yeah, I think it was tough, and the most unique windows in the house are the ones in the bays.
Yeah.
If you look at how they're trimmed out, and so we weren't, it wasn't as much of a concern in those windows, or that wasn't an issue.
Right.
So we're still preserving those. And,
Yeah, the other thing that I'm concerned about, I should have said when I was making my comments, is that we've set a precedent now for vinyl windows.
Yes.
That's right.
No, but that's part of why I was also stressing that it was, one compromise was that it was making them uniform. Versus, a little bit of this and that. It wasn't just that we were replacing windows, existing windows. It was making a uniform presentation.
Yeah.
Should we consider altering our guidelines, our written guidelines to clarify what our positions really are on this, and perhaps a few other things like solar panels and VAC
Yeah,
equipment?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's already in there not to pave front yards, right? You already added that. Okay,
Excuse
good.
me?
But you already added not to pave the front yards after.
Pave after, you're right, yeah.
So we've made additions to
Right.
kind of.
That's
what
the only change as far as I know from the original ordinance.
I mean, as we found out with the lawyer quoting
Yeah.
our own guidelines back to us,
Yeah.
that if it's not written in the guidelines, and we do already have this
True.
precedent for vinyl, I mean, that the door is wide open for vinyl everything.
Right. And sometimes, people do things with it, like the vinyl windows she was referring to. you know, from across the street and stuff. I don't know if it ever came before the commission. It didn't when I was, you know, on it previously, but there was a gap of about 15 years that I wasn't on the commission. So I don't know what happened during that time.
So can I just ask, so say someone just went ahead and put vinyl windows in without coming to this group. Do we have recourse to that? Can we do a stop work order? Do
Yeah.
we,
Oh, yeah,
we can do a stop work order
sure.
and say, sorry, like we're walking by, you know, Arlie, you walk down Middle Street and you see someone putting in vinyl windows as replacements. It hasn't come before this
Right,
commission.
you know,
could say-
anybody on this commission can call the planning office and tell them to get the building inspector to go out and shut down a work site. And that's what we did with what's his name across the street from me on Middle Street that was before us for the Babson.
Gardner?
No,
No, the
David
law
Gardner
office?
was the paving in the parking lot, but no, remember Babson about 6 months ago? Or
Yeah.
last summer, he came before us about you know, the pillar for the entrance and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they
from,
started work on that. You're right.
he had started work on that, and I saw him when I went down to my building on Middle Street. And I went over and had a chat with him, and I said, "Did you pull permits for this? I'm on the commission. I don't think it came before us." And they didn't, you know. And we allowed some vinyl there too, I think. Or what's the flexible wood, plastic wood?
Like AZEC or something.
AZAC, yeah, we allowed some AZAC there, so.
Well,
But,
so, go ahead, Bill, sorry.
well, I mean, it's a slippery slope and I will, I'm waiting for the vinyl siding, which is a
Yeah.
bridge too far for me.
Right.
can't-
No, the
can't
only
help it.
vinyl siding that we have allowed, as far as I know, over the years was what's his name's building on corner of Dale and Prospect Street, retired lawyer. Can't think of his name offhand. But we didn't want to allow you know, his siding to be put on an addition he added. And what he did is he put in and applied to be on the commission, became a member of the commission, and he was for vinyl siding and everything else and vinyl windows. The Carmen will probably remember that, right?
Well,
So-
I mean, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's the aesthetics. We're trying to maintain the
Right.
historic aesthetics.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah,
And that's why things like AZEC, which once you paint, you can't
can't tell.
distinguish it from
Yeah.
wood. And
Good
I
point.
think that's
That's right.
okay. But if it doesn't look historic, if it's not a historic material or it doesn't look historic, I
Right.
think that should be where we put our foot down.
So can I just ask another question then? So say that someone truly cannot afford wood replacement windows. And so their windows are going to fall apart. They are cracking, they are rotting. So these people are then put up plastic bags or cardboard to keep the cold out. So how do we, I mean, if our mandate is exactly as we all say here, to preserve the historic integrity of this district, I got that. I get that. But we can't ask to see their financial statements. We can't ask to, you know, do a GoFundMe site for the windows. I'm just
Right.
saying that's a situation there. Okay, we can't put plastic bags, but they don't have an option. They can't afford the wood.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dilemma. It's a real
Yeah.
dilemma.
Right. I guess we're all in the same boat here.
Yeah.
So.
I had a problem. I used to live in Wellesley and my side door, the way I got into my house predated the subdivision of the lot, and there was a house next door, meaning that the steps up to my house were within the 20-foot setback, and they were not allowed anymore. They were allowed when they were built, but anyway, and it was rotted, and I wanted to rebuild them, and I was turned down, and I said, "This is how I get into my house." And, and they said, no, you can't build within the 20-foot setback. And I said, what am I
But-
supposed to do?
They wouldn't
So would
allow
you-
you to replace an existing stair?
Yes.
That's strange.
That's odd, isn't it?
You could have just, sued them, sued the city for it, a town
Well,
for it.
What I did was I had an appeal, and I brought a baggie of rotted wood, and I was in front of 5 people at a table, and I said, when my pregnant wife falls through the stairs and loses the baby, which one of you do I sue? They
Okay,
approved it.
that's very
Yeah.
effective. That's very,
They approved it, but we're hopefully not in that level of confrontation. But yikes, I don't know how we get around the economic hardships, because we all know that
Yeah.
it's a big issue, and
Mhm.
not everyone can afford it.
True.
Yeah, and then we're kind of sabotaged by the organizations that are funding these windows too.
Right.
And how to get to the root of that and get,
so this is an action, I mean, what is Action's engagement with involvement in this house?
Okay, what Action does is they have a weatherization program and subsidy.
Okay,
Okay, so that's one of the programs that they have. They have fuel assistance, they have this and that, and they have employment programs and whatnot, but they have a weatherization program, that you have to meet certain income guidelines, for.
okay.
And
And
so
those are
they're funding,
restrictions. Gotcha.
a majority of this. Grace and her husband are not. There's probably some sort of threshold or cap to how much they're allowed, per window or per project. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but not that I have the knowledge of it at all. And so that anything, what Grace was saying is that anything that goes over what they're authorized by Action, she would have to pay out of pocket. And if they convert it to wood, she was saying it could be up to $1,000 per window.
Yeah, that's just not.
Which I don't know if that's necessarily an accurate statement.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not an unrealistic number.
No, but I mean, I don't know what's authorized and what
The
what the
authorization.
overage would be that she'd have to come out of pocket, but you're talking about 23 windows. So even if,
Ari,
even
I'm
if
still
it's
here. I'm still here.
Oh,
They
okay.
offer up to $700, I think, a window. So I have to subsidize all of the additional, and I also have to pay for any of the grids. So I actually really wanted the prairie style grids. I wanted all of them to be that way, but that wasn't even given to me as
So
an
the
option.
detail that you added instead of 1/1, the 2/1.
Any detail I have to
Yeah.
pay is out of pocket. I
Okay.
could not get the prairie. And that's really what I wanted. I could have got a 6/6, but then that doesn't go with this particular home.
No.
House, yeah.
If I could have done the 4/4, but where I live downtown, I have beautiful views of the harbor. I didn't want to disrupt the bottom, and most of mine currently on the bottom floor are just single. They're prairie style or they're 1/2. So I just decided to go the whole, 1/2,
Make it
2/1, just to have them to be some symmetry. Again, I agree with all of you, and the only and Barbara gave maybe this is something that the historical committee could do, somehow get funds that would be, so put some teeth into your plan. I don't know if it's through the conservation or preservation, but if there was an ability, if somebody had said, okay, well, I can pay this much, paying an additional $23,000 with a kid that needs to go to college and I don't have a job
Yeah,
right now isn't going to
course.
happen. But if there was some kind of no interest loan or something that would have been available to make it economical, then those of us that have that opportunity may take advantage of it.
Right.
I'm just trying to, get
Yeah.
it so that I don't
No,
freeze us.
the only funds that I know of in the past that have been available is we had, this must have been 30 years ago, there was facade easement money. So that anybody that wanted to do work on the facade facing the street on their house or their storefront on Main Street that was within the district, they could give an easement to the city for 50 years or something like that, agreeing not to change, anything. And they got up to, I think it was $20,000, maybe a
Yeah,
bit
I
more.
mean, I'm looking to paint the house and that's going to be another $30,000 and there are
Yeah.
no programs for that. So I'm on my own and no, I will never go for vinyl. I will definitely do, but it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah, of course.
So
Well, you're definitely
I
putting that.
appreciate all of your concerns and thoughts and I'm willing to listen to any suggestions or advice to make it, you know, as aesthetically pleasing as possible. And I'd like to get rid of those ugly storm doors that I have in the front of the house at some point, if I could get somebody to restore my front door.
Mm.
So hopefully all you'll see is things that look like an improvement.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
That'll be
Good.
lovely.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
very-
wonder, would it be worth us talking with Action or anybody else that provides funding for
I
Windows
don't think,
Society?
good luck with
It's
that,
just-
because they don't seem to be one person that you talk to. It's a great program, but every part of the program has a different correspondent. So I don't think there's just one person. It's not as if I went and said, okay, this is what I want to have done. They came to me and said, this is what we can provide.
Yeah,
So
well,
I'm not sure it can.
I'm just wondering if we could talk to that particular division of it in general and say, you know, this is, we
You
have a
might want to, 'cause
dilemma
they
and
know
that
they're actively looking for participants because they have the funding. So you might have more people coming your way.
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish
Yeah,
you all the best of luck. Thank you.
thank you,
Thank you,
Grace.
Okay, thank you, Grace.
I think there are a lot of vested interests that are pushing weatherization, you know, the
Mhm.
manufacturers
Right.
of plastic windows,
Yeah,
for example. And the people that make wood windows don't have an extra dime to
Yeah.
even advertise.
yeah. Plus,
Mm.
the quality of wood that they're making them with isn't the
Yeah.
same as the old windows.
Very good point. Very
No, I totally agree with that also, because I've had newer windows put in my house over in East Gloucester, and they haven't held up like the old windows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a kind of mishmash of windows in my house, and I just decided I was going to leave them because it's part of the history of the house.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And, you know, we were looking at the front facade of Grace's house. And the house that was built next door when they took down the monument that was there. Yeah, yeah, a number of years ago.
on Middle Street or,
On Middle Street, yeah. And they moved it down to with the Trinity, I think it's on the Trinity lawn now. There's some Bible person.
oh,
Okay, you know, and it was the old Stagecoach inn that was there,
Oh.
you know, at Depot on Middle Street, and the front doors that were there, my family got salvaged when they tore the building down, and I have them as my front doors.
oh,
Mhm.
that's great.
And they get SC, you know, etched in the glass. People say etch SC. Whose name was that? And I said, not a name. It's you know, Stagecoach. And actually, I was talking to the people that just restored that Stagecoach. It's down in
Right.
Annisquam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, and talking about the door and stuff. You know, the doors and stuff. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, it didn't mean that much to, you know, necessarily to me when I was younger. But when my parents enclosed the porch, you know, and which moved the front door out, you know, they then used the doors.
Well, I think this was a great discussion about
Yeah, yeah,
the
Yeah.
final. I mean, it was great getting
Yeah.
Grace's input, and I think
Yeah.
it's been very helpful to me. So.
yeah, yeah. And she's good to talk with, you know, and she's
Yeah.
somebody knowledgeable, you know, and she cares.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that doesn't care, you know, it's just a house and they don't really, care. You know, I know from when we initially, you know, established the historic district, we did it in a way, and it was led by JJ Bell. If anybody knows JJ, you can have the conversation with him. But he was the, you know, the leader of the movement at the time, and we sort of did a mixed minimalist approach, because we want, you know, it was people's like, you know, Grace's family, you know, the Jambancos and stuff that were, you know, living on Middle Street and Pleasant Street at the time and had those houses, and we wanted to, you know, have them accept the district and vote for it, because it was the, you know, member property, you know, properties within the district that had to approve it. So we, you know, we didn't include like the building the Drift is in, that the Gatton Aries built. Okay,
All right.
You know, because that was a gas station at the time. We figured there was nothing to preserve, so why, you know, try to just tell people that they, you know, that they have to have a historic gas station. You know, and we tried to limit it by streets. We didn't include storm windows. We didn't include storm doors. We didn't include antenna. You know, and things like that, so that, you know, we were going to be least offensive to people where possible. And we didn't specify color, you know, because we didn't want somebody just to be upset and vote against us because we didn't want the house painted white, you know, you're like, you know, Cape Cod, you know. Bill, were you going to say something? Were you going to
You're
say something,
muted.
Bill? You're muted, Bill.
Muted.
No, I'm being called.
Uh,
Well, yes.
Okay,
Well,
so yeah, so you know, so the approach we took when we established the district was to do it with, you know, is a somewhat limited, you know, restriction so that we could, you know, sort of watch some things and, you know, try to, you know, establish some standards. And I was one of the original people when I was originally on the commission. I was probably the most conservative member. You know, and I think of Central Grammar. If you don't know, they once had a tile roof, and they wanted to redo the roof, and they wanted to take off the tile roof. And I said, "You got enough money to be able to just repair the tile roof." And basically, my vote did, they got a certificate to convert the roof, and I was ignored. But you know, you can't always afford, let's say, keeping a tile roof, but they could.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know-
I last lived in Concord, and the Historic District Commission was quite insistent on various things.
Yeah.
And there was a house right at the Rotary that had a tile roof, and the roof was leaking. And the Historic District refused to let them change the material unless they could match it. And of course, you can't match slate. So this went on for several years, and finally they just made their repairs, and that was that. So
wow. Well, is there maybe for a future meeting? I mean, because that what Bill made, that maybe there's some edits or that we want to make or additional things to add to our charter or whatever that people could just think about, and maybe we have a further discussion on
Yeah.
that.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, modify the ordinance in some way, shape, or
Yeah.
form. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe, you know, let, you know, Steve and
And
Rob know
we
too.
can always, you know, put together some sort of document that says the materials that we prefer, materials that we are unhappy with or discourage. You know,
Yep.
it doesn't say we'll vote yes or no, you know,
Mhm.
you know, on something, but you know, we can say we prefer wood windows, blah blah
Right.
blah. You know, we discourage vinyl, you know, plastic, or you know, metal windows. You know, where
Right.
where possible. So there's always going to be exceptions, no matter what you do.
Right.
yeah.
So
Well, it was good to work through this one. So,
yeah, but you know, and just to follow up, I did send an email to Greg and asked him to look at you know, Eddie Pasquina's building. And if you look at the, you know, the Main Street side, which I don't think came before us, you know, he's redid a porch and added a porch, you know, deck off the second floor, and then he just redid the you know, driveway, took up the, you know, hot top and put in brick, and then you know, a little garden area in the back behind a fence, which he didn't get approval for either. So you know, so basically, I asked Greg to say, you know, who makes the determination of whether or not he has to get a permit or not, and did he come in and get a building permit at all? You know.
well, that's great. Thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
okay, yeah, because, you know, historically what happened is he redid the front entrance at one point, and he was given a stop work order for doing that because he didn't get a permit for it. And then another time he had a car, you know, drive into the front of the building, you know, did
Okay.
come to the intersection, you know, and did damage, and, you know, he restored that. And, you know, I think it's one thing when somebody does something on their own. It's another thing when it's results like the temple, in Lorraine building, burned, so, that wasn't something that they initiated. It's the same thing with a car accident going through the front of a building.
Right.
It's not, something that he just decided on the whim that he wanted to do this repair or do this modification. But that was done, to match.
I'm glad he's gonna look into that. And then the only other thing is that sign that we didn't discuss about 20 Dale. He didn't come to us with any discussion on that, Jason, correct?
No, Bill, you can, do that. If you saw in my email that when we discussed Dale Avenue, was it 18 Dale Avenue? We didn't get to the sign, I don't think.
He didn't bring it up.
Yeah. But it was on the application and then so it didn't go in our motion.
Yeah, but he's coming back to us anyway, isn't he?
Okay, yeah, I think so.
So he's coming back, so
Right.
we'll ask him.
But, we did issue a certificate so they could start, work on, and it was based on, the limitations, that we had.
Right.
Change of the windows and stuff. Aaron had run that by me. So,
I actually have one other issue, a little
Okay.
different. A person from another board contacted me about our business here, and I didn't think it was appropriate to talk to him. That's correct, isn't it?
no, you can talk to him. It depends, you're not talking, what
But
do
they-
you,
Talking about things that were coming up here and at another board.
I don't know, I've talked to people about 20 Main Street.
Yeah, that's
Off-
public.
huh?
Because that's
Excuse me?
public. We voted on 20 Main. so
Right,
that's-
we voted on 20 Main Street and I talked to, people, about it when they've asked me and I said, this is what my concerns are and this is what, we're able to do and not able to do. And, some of my discussion has been with other board members or, the city council. I've had a couple of city councilors ask me because they're looking at the notes. And that's why we had to correct the notes of July 25th today.
Wow.
Well, because that's our documentation and, they were, wondering, how we, why we voted on this, and, I said, well, we got some changes from them. They made some modifications and, they could appeal out whatever, if we turn them down and then we're sort of out of the loop. Basically, they can appeal, from their perspective. We don't get to, make it changes. And I said, the only thing we could have done is said when they came before us with the last design is we could have decided or voted ourselves to, consider it a new design and start it all over again. But I don't know where that would have got us either. They would have just dug their heels in. But, so I've talked to people, and I feel that people, you should express yourself. Bill, your wife is on the planning board?
Yes.
Yeah, so if it has to go before the planning board, I don't know if it does or not.
I thought it already did.
Yeah,
I-
then, if you can have discussions with her. Or arguments
She's
with
not
her.
gonna talk
whenever
too
you
much
want.
longer.
Huh?
She's not going to talk much longer to him if he doesn't get off the phone, but that's okay.
I've got 2 grandchildren over for dinner.
Oh, okay, so you want to go, so,
I'll let
I,
you
I
go.
need to go.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, so I just, we appreciate your input for this stuff, so.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And-
Thank
and-
you.
Okay, bye-bye, Bill, thank you for getting on there, Lisa.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
so,
Look, can I just ask one more question?
yeah, sure,
So someone asked me, like on 20 Main Street,
Yeah.
okay? But someone said, well, what was originally there? Was there ever a big, tall building on Main Street?
no, it was like 2-story buildings, sort of like what was on Middle Street.
Well, so I mean, like before, so that was so you're saying before the Fisherman Outfitters, was there ever a big house, a 3-story?
A 2-story house and there was a barn behind it at one point.
Okay, so
Okay.
it wasn't,
Yeah,
That
it was, and I don't think any of you would know, but it was Douglas Pharmacy, which ended up being where Walgreens is now, or where the bank is next to Walgreens on Roger Street.
they moved up there.
They were originally down there.
Okay, so that's what was there.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
because
so it
someone
was
was saying, if it was a big building originally, then
No.
that's more of an, okay.
No, and Main Street or Middle Street originally, the original houses all had fronts facing Main Street in
Right.
rolling lawns.
Right.
And whatnot. But then, you know, Gloucester's had several fires
Yeah.
over the years, and big buildings
had-
have replaced things, you know. I think where Cafe Bichot is, that was the original Gloucester National Bank.
That's right.
Yeah, you know,
Okay,
and
That's right. That's
yeah.
a great bill.
you know, I mean, if people know what stereo views are, I have stereo views of Middle Street. You know, of what it looked like around 1860.
Oof.
Nice.
You know, which is, you know, nice to refer to. And it, you know, it looks somewhat different and some not so different.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be building modifications, and you know, what does the Old House Journal call it? Buildings that get messed up. But they always had a section in the back of the magazine.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I do know what you're talking about. One
Yeah.
of the do's
Right.
and don'ts kind of thing.
Right. But it was always, you know, what, how people made a
works.
mess of a good building. And if you want to see a good example of that, look at the corner of what School Street and 133 in Essex, where the Cape Ann Soup is, or, you know, the paddleboarder people and kayak people. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what that building looked like?
No,
Oh, yeah, no, it was a building that was what, from the 1700s, and they added on, and they butchered it.
well, they don't have a historic district commission like us, right?
Right, but that was just butchered, you know. And I know that at one point, you know, there was going to be an addition put on by somebody that was looking at buying it before that, and they were just going to put like a barn addition attached on the back to form a T, to give it more space. But then, you know, what they've done is, you know, if I think Susan Coviello has pictures, because she used to own the building, her and her husband.
Oh,
So
that's right. they're in Essex.
yeah, so you know, if I can find some pictures that she's posted someplace, or get her to, you know, send me pictures, I'll do that so you can see what not to do to an historic building. Yep. So, okay. So, anything else? So,
No, but we got a lot done.
Good
Yeah.
meeting, yes.
yeah, and I like having these discussions about, you know, where are we
Yeah.
coming from and whatnot. You know, this wasn't my most favorite vote. And it wasn't, you know, and I don't particularly care for vinyl windows, but I think in this case, it was an improvement over what exists. So,
Yeah.
okay, so is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Okay, Rosemary, you're good at motions.
Well, actually, Barbara did that one, so I'll second Barbara's.
Oh, no,
So-
you don't need a second for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, second, that's
Look
right.
at-
You told me that. That's
yeah,
right. I
yeah,
know
if
that.
you look at Russ, it's a, Barbara,
Go,
did you make
Barbara.
the motion? Barbara,
Yes,
you made the
Yes,
motion?
I
Okay,
did.
you got beat to it, huh? You gotta get quicker.
I know, you know, I'm smart.
Okay.
I thought I'd let her have one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Sure.
We'll have a little code next time, Barbara.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we gotta do a roll call.
That's a
vote.
plan.
Me, yes. Carmine, yes.
Yes.
Rosemary, yes. Barbara, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Good night,
Erin,
folks.
yes.
Erin,
Good night.
Erin, you get
Thank
the rest of the
you.
night to yourself.
Yeah,
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.